Hello, everyone, and welcome. See, we've got a couple of people waiting already. Hey there, James and Colin. Welcome. Today we are going to get into really get rolling on updating behaviors to be message driven. And hello, Otel. Welcome. Core goal of this is to increase flexibility and also simplify some of the entity code. Right now we have a lot of special case message handlers, and I want to consolidate that all into the behavior chain. Should be neat. Why am I still working on the game? It's not done yet. Not done yet. See, we have Sky up in the tree, Ember across from the keyboard, and Mason and Sherbet on the bed. Oh, there goes Sammy past Sky. Oh, wrong button. Wrong button. Let's see. Probably looking at probably a little over a month of full days of work. I don't actually want movement entities to override that we actually want that. So I feel like every one of them could just jump through this hoop. Yep. And we've got some of the core movement going. We've been off on a bit of an adventure getting collision and rendering to be super fast. At this point, we can run over 5,000 things at 120, which should be plenty. For the most part, movement objects need to have this happen for them to work properly when we actually do movement. But there's nothing about any individual one that says it needs a separate function for that. Ultimately, it's this little bit that matters. So I want to let them handle that themselves. We are going to remove that, and we'll just leave this as a shell. I had a short where somebody mentioned that same thing, Colin. That it reminded them of the Subway Surfer Minecraft parkour nonsense. Okay, the thing that makes a movement behavior is the presence of a targeter. And when we do rotate, we want to make sure that we call the base function if we have a difference, since it will influence the targeter. Okay. So all of these need handle message, and they need to check that it is a movement type message. Or I'm sorry, a time passed message, but there's nothing about a movement behavior that is special aside from there needing to be a targeter. Any type of behavior can cause movement by changing the proposed movement value on the entity. Okay. Solve that. Solve that. So we need a public override and message. For the most part, most of them are going to call false here. Or are going to return false because most movement objects don't eat the message. And since they only react to one type of message, we don't need to worry about it. Don't need to have the base on this, so. It's only going to respond to time passed. One. Do the open bracket. We can actually do not has spawned right up front. And just short circuit it that way. Only cares if both of those are true. And if it's already spawned, we don't care what kind of message it is. Yeah, that should solve that one. Again, for those that weren't there for the last stream, what we are doing is merging the concept of an interaction object and a behavior object. Previously, interaction objects were a special case. Each of the different types was individually handled. So there were overtime types that would get the delta message. There were types that were for receiving a collision, essentially. And we're going to remove that and just have the behavior chain consulted whenever something happens. So time passed is pretty much universal. We'll pass that to movement. We'll pass that to things like lifespan. So that should cover a lot of different ground. Handle message. False. Weird. This time passed message, then typing is way off today. Should be plenty there. So now we know the delta. We can go in and do all of this stuff. Okay, that should give us rotational movement back. Then rotate. Straight line, we'll need this as well. So the reason that we're doing this specifically each time pass message is we could have a movement type behavior that has a targeter, but does not actually care about time passed. It might be that it cares about a collision. The collision could be for logic like, say the player gets knocked back if they take a hit. We could make that a behavior by using this same logic. Hey, Rufus. Ruzuf? That's a tricky one. RZ is a... That's a consonant combo there. But welcome nonetheless. Okay, there's move straight line. Save ourselves a little bit of trouble. It can be very tricky when it comes to languages with fundamentally different syllables. So it's wave motion. Zigzag motion. Straight line, rotate. Okay, that should be each one of those. All right, did we fix it? We did not. Oh, wait, no, that's a breakpoint. Okay, let's go to our interaction lifespan message handler here. Have timer interactions have the concept of how long it's been. We don't need to specifically give them entity manager because that's globally available. All right. Change those to be called timers. Change this to just a lifespan handler. I think for the time being, we're going to make this unique to them because there's nothing necessarily about a timer that is universal. All of them will have the concept of accumulating time passed. But what they do with it is entirely different. So there isn't the greatest way to deal with that. And again, there's nothing about them that says they can't handle other messages as well. But most will just handle time passed. So we'll do that. They have no targeter. Delta. If the time passed. This is entity manager dot remove entity. In the moment that the lifespan is consumed, we have no guarantee that other things haven't happened first. So we can just let the lifespan message go. But I think we should return true. If the lifespan handler gets a time passed and the lifespan has ended, we have reached the lifespan of the entity, then we're going to call to remove it and we're going to consume time passed. This would prevent it from doing any sort of movement, spawning new entities, anything like that. As soon as it's gone, we stop. Okay, so this should give us a lifespan. Now, when we go into our standard entity manager, as in time passed, okay, so then we need to add those into the entities in the catalog. Okay, so for the blob, right now we have interactions on them. Let's go into entity and let's pull out timer interactions. All of these need to go away now. Which should break many things. This is also convenient in that it removes more complexity from creation and copying. We don't actually have to have this anymore. Same with this is whenever we get a collision, we can just send the collision message to the affected entity instead of having a special call. Yeah, this should break some other stuff. We're going to build just so we can get that list. Hey there, Kururu. Welcome. Okay, so we just need to send a collision message when this happens. So we get the entity. We are working on updating our behavior system to include message handling. message. Collision message. Have a source target. Then the entity will get this and it will insert itself as the first property in there. Okay. So this will give us our collision events. Entity shape is an out-of-date thing. I recall you were here last time there, 10. Message. Entity. Solution. Okay. Need to see if we get collision events. Okay, no collision events happening. Oh, because we don't have the kill message, the kill event, recreated. That and we have to load more stuff, but, you know. Commercial signs of behavior. Okay, so then we need our constructor to handle anything that would be relevant, but this particular one doesn't have any special constructor properties. It only cares if the message is a collision message. It will not consume the collision event. There's other things that could happen to the colliding entity here. Okay, so now we have our collision kill target in here. We have our lifespan. So we're going to go into our standard catalog. And we need to add... Well, we need to get rid of these. And those. Those. Into our catalog type and get rid of those. Okay. All right, so we're going to add timers, collisions. Yeah, we'll start with timers and collisions. Might end up changing the name of all of this stuff to be like... Yeah, let's do that now. Behavior as. Sounds like something else. But isn't. We are adding behaviors to the end of these because they are all behavior objects. Okay. Is it? It is... lifespan. A lifespan handler needs... It's weird that it can't. Well, we need an intrinsic type, but why can it not? That's weird. It should be able to. lifespan handler is a behavior. Yeah. Welcome back. Oh. Because it was a collection that I was trying to overwrite. This is specifically a lifespan behavior, though. And since it'll have... No, it's this one will have its own properties. Yeah. That one will have its own properties. I'm using these as blocks. These are generally for things like functions and what have you. Keep it that way. Okay, then we have jitters. Items. Behavior. We need to set its name and behaviors. By doing this, what we're doing is making it so that we can have the lifespan timer as part of the base interaction group. We are going to load it. We're going to get that behavior as a lifespan handler specifically, and set the lifespan in the entity creation. Once again, go into our behaviors, constants. Not really. Nothing against them, but I specifically am not. Though I think the ears are cute. Okay, so we have collision kill target. Now we're going to go into the entities. Behaviors. Add. That is definitely true. Entirely different. Though I mentioned this periodically, long ago, somebody created a. This was a linear scale, though I'm sure you could have multiple axes to it, that had all the way at the leftmost side, essentially animal ear, the kimono mimi kind of concept that you'll encounter in Japanese media most of the time, though it has spread. And then on the far right side was humanoid animal people, but with very realistic features, as opposed to the cartoonier ones that are more common on the sliding scale of furriness. This is technically a dangerous presupposition. We don't actually need to copy it, because each time it's going to be a new one, so much like behavior group. If in the future there is a lifespan handler that is universal, like with fixed values, then I would set it as a specific one. But for the time being, we don't actually need that. But this pattern we will use in multiple places down here. That's the player. It doesn't have a lifespan. The yarn ball has a lifespan. Cat hair is a state of being over here. Back when Bob and Tom were alive, my two Maine Coon cats, one of the things I would joke about was the tumbleweeds. There would actually be like lightweight balls of fur that would sometimes form and roll around the factory. Maine Coon fur is an interesting thing to encounter. Okay, so we have the lifespan timers wired in now. And it broke. Okay, let's look at those lifespan handlers. Ah, okay. No, we don't return true here. We return true here. Because if we return true after we did, just because we determine it's a time passed message, no movement can happen. Because we have positioned that at the top of the queue, that lifespan happens first. All right, we're not getting those timer interactions firing. Time passed. Okay, we're never... Let's wait and see if that actually gets tagged. These were full-sized Maine Coons as well. Okay, so collision and such is not happening. So we eat the message. Okay. This will repeatedly happen, and it shouldn't. We're asking it to self-destruct here is what should be happening. but is not. But is not. We didn't add the collision, so that's why we're not getting impact removal. Okay, so we have a yarn ball to be removed. Yarn ball. Hello, Sky. Hello. Oof. Sky doesn't need snuggles frequently, but when he does, it is a I insist kind of scenario. Walk right up and, headbutt to the face kind of thing. Classic delay by cat. All right, let's... Do I ever play games? I would like to get some more game streams going again. Generally for stream, I like to play really casual things, or at least what I consider really casual games. Power Wash Simulator, some puzzle games, horror games in the vicinity of walking simulators. Monster Hunter. Really looking forward to Wilds. It's going to be wild, haha. Alright, let's reduce their lifespan down to like 3 seconds. There we go. Okay, lifespan is working. I have never played Roblox. While I have no real problem with the content, the creativity of the individuals involved, I do feel like the development practices and their handling of the development practices involved, paired with the average age of their player base, is very suspect. Very suspect. Okay, lifespan working. So now for the yarn ball, we are going to first deal with lifespan. Then we are going to have to type around Sky here. He looking real cozy though. Oh yeah, there are older people playing. That's not the issue. Those folks are fine. It is sub-adults working on development projects and doing what amounts to a job and not being properly compensated by people that are involved. That is not the universal case, but the company kind of takes a big hands-off approach unless they get media attention on that. And that implies some collusion. It's what I've heard. It's what I've seen some evidence of online. But, you know, is it the only company that does that? Absolutely not. It also doesn't help that that is well after my time, as it were. Minecraft is after my time. So it'd be break time, but I don't necessarily need a full break right now. I'm going to continue getting some of this stuff into the catalog and verified here. Again, there is absolutely nothing wrong with liking Roblox or with playing Roblox. I'm just not interested. Fireballs will kill targets. Unfortunate. So I don't like to hard stop the application because there is a shader in there. And I really want to make sure that unloads properly. Why could it not do that? It is a behavior. We should be able to get that behavior. If it doesn't exist, then that would be an issue. I, in particular, really dislike what I refer to as closet stealth. Games where you have to constantly hide from things. I feel it is usually terribly immersion breaking for me. Oh. Because it's a behavior. Oh, no, wait. That's the wrong thing. These are the wrong thing. This extends behavior. Yes. Okay. Those wondering what's going on, I am attempting to figure out why we have an error case. Be in the constructor process. Timer behaviors, collision behaviors, yes. Collision kill target should fundamentally be able to accept anything there. So, all right. Essentially, if there's a problem during this load up, the game will fail to load properly. Okay, it didn't have a problem with that. The lifespan handler. Now, this is the relevant part here. You're free to post a message in the Discord if you like. That I'm not terribly interested in playing Roblox, and one of the core mechanics you've described is meh to me. Okay. It needs a catalogable interface on it. Lifespan handler is dodging that largely, but we need to have this in there. It has no special interaction, but this has to be there, I believe. Okay, if a yarn ball hits a blob, the blob should be going away now. Yep. Okay. This gives us our core behavior back. The collision is not perfect, and that's largely from sizing of them. Effectively, the positioning of the sprites can make it seem like a collision should have happened, and it may not. We can expand the size of that to make it more effective. It's that what we need is the diagonal should be what determines the radius, not the horizontal or vertical. But that can be tricky to get right. We may end up having to make that a property on the entity, is how big the collision area should be. But for now, that's not the case. So let's see. With the player, the player's health is fundamentally different because there will be an outside entity for the player's health. And the immediately kill the target is not what we are ultimately going to be doing. So let's get an interim commit here. Okay. So now we need an actual, like, inflict harm. Space down, it extends behavior. Was wondering what it was doing. Again, there's a lot of... Inevitably, somebody will swing through and say things like, why aren't you using AI for this? Now, some of it, I'm sure, is trolling. But some of it is out of a misunderstanding of what you do most of the time with code. AI code assistant, things like advanced IntelliSense, great. But we saw right there one of the things that can go wrong, and that's that these are predictive models. These are things that produce what the most likely next option is. So, if you type tic-tac, it would say toe. That is the most likely thing. Most of the models have randomization incorporated as well to try to mix things up, to try to, simulate creativity. But there is no knowledge. There is no understanding. Anybody that uses that terminology is trying to sell you something. The understanding is on the part of the user, and the user needs to be skilled enough not only to recognize issues, but know how to correct them. And the act of reviewing the code, recognizing all of the issues and correcting them, is what we would call programming. If you skip all of that, if the assertion is that you can hire fewer people because of that, you're doing it wrong. We are on the cusp of reaping the reward of that. We have a lot of places. Nice. We have a lot of places that are starting to deploy AI art generation and similar. Thinking that they can cut out expenses on things like art. And early on, they're going to manage to get away with that quite a bit. But AI art, coding, all of those things, any use of AI is going to implode eventually, because these systems, these systems make it so that, they're producing content. They are creating new images. They are creating new code repositories that people put out there. Those code repositories will have errors because they don't get double checked as thoroughly as they should. Art will have the same errors introduced into it. And then new large language models or existing ones will scrape that up into a code base. Into their training base. And this will repeat over and over. And what that will mean is those errors get reinforced repeatedly. That's right, Karuru. It's the price of abdicating quality control, or just quality in general, is eventually going to come back around to bite them. Activision has gotten some recent press because of that, where very visible AI flaws, like really basic, really apparent AI flaws, have shown up in paid microtransaction content. You can get away with little things, but you need people there to help you get away with it. If you remove the people factor, it's going to get obvious. And it's also going to accelerate the kind of legal apocalypse that is going to show up around AI. We need... There's got to be a way to get this part to autofill. And the trick is, an individual image can look really good if you have a more and more talented individual on the back end of it going in and scrubbing it down, finding every issue that's there and touching it up. Is that ideal still? No. But it is still like a person manually reviewing and correcting everything it produces. And the people pushing for the implementation of that don't want that. They want to be able to have somebody that they would call unskilled, so they can pay them less, cranking content out nonstop. That won't work. indefinitely. Early it will work a little bit, but every time an error happens, people scrutinize it more. And the closer you look at AI content, usually you start to see the jagged edges. Uh, By default, damage is 0. Do I do song recommendations? Do you mean do I accept song recommendations to play on stream, to review personally? Please extrapolate. To play on stream, not really. All the music you're hearing is stuff that I have licensed to. Um, Even with content that I have commissioned and thus own, I have run into YouTube issues. The licensing group that I get this from handles the issues. If you would like to post something in the Discord for me to listen to and let you know what I think, I'm fine with that. I have very varied taste in music. Okay, just take the damage. Let's see here. Message. This one will never consume message. It to getting the target entity. So now we need a new type of message. Am I using harm and not damage? It's a shorter word. So right now, behavior messages don't have anything fundamental about them, but can they? Yes. So when we create a harm message, it will have these two things. Okay. This entity received this message. The target entity is going to receive a harm message from this entity dealing this much damage. You can do both. Message. Then we need a reactive one here. Enemy health extends behavior. No worries. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so we'll duplicate the health value. Okay, so anytime you set the health, it will set the current health to that value. And this is entirely for the enemy health. Oh, okay. We can't do that because... why? Okay, that duplicates it, and that is a setter, so it will update the current health accordingly. Oh, but... Okay, but when we duplicate it, we want current health. So this part is purely for when we are initially creating one of these, to be able to just set it without having to set the current health equal. So if you change the health, the assumption is that the current health would change with it. Do I want that? Yes, I do. If I need a special case, I will manually set that. Message. I don't have a lot of them that consume the message yet, but we do have at least one. If manager of entity handling entity. And if that is the case, so if an entity receives enough harm to go away, that message stops. There may be variations on this, but for the time being, that's how this works. So then if we go into our standard catalog, we have our enemy here. We have our lifespan handler. Beam will add 2. Okay, so it can take 2 hits of damage before it goes away. So now we go down to our yarn ball here. We have a lifespan handler, we have some movement, we have a collision here. These are I'm setting up a series of basic things for them. Most things will have some sort of lifespan. Most things will have, most enemies will have a health. Most projectiles will do damage. Most enemies will do damage. Yarn balls will do 1 damage. So if a collision harm gets a collision message, it will send a harm message to the thing that it collided with. We have a problem. That's not good. Vision enemy health get. Okay, we've created a loop. Right there. Should be able to do that, right? On the plus side, we may not have gotten to the shader logic because the catalog is the first thing to run. Arm. Double damage. It's a little more expedient. Lifespan handler. We're going to do the same thing. Span is equal to lifespan. Time passed. 0 lifespan. You don't need to set those. If this is being called, this is false, and that's 0. Why are we doing this? Because if you duplicate an entity in any way, its lifespan should remain true. This helps with the keeping the projectile splitting from going out of control. So then in our catalog, we're just going to put 10 here. Okay, we are going to give the blobs 5 HP here. Yeah, let's do 3 so we can see it a little better. Three. Takes 3 hits for them to go away right now. Now, another thing we could do I have a flag for this. I don't. What I may need to do is add a hit indicator. Okay. Not yet, Lunar. But welcome. We are creating impact behaviors right now. Knockback is something that can happen. Is fiddly, but it could happen. Ooh. But yeah, we should do that one next. This one does nothing special, but it's going to be very similar. So self dot handle message. So right here, we send a new harm message. Instead of the target getting one here, so when this triggers, it is going to inflict the harm on itself here. As in, it is otherwise a collision harm, but it changes the target. And we are incorporating that in the standard catalog so that the yarn ball will have health as well. We're going to give it 1 health, and we're going to give it a damage self. And that will come after it inflicts harm here. Self. Damage. Does nothing special, it relays it up. Okay, so in sequence, when a collision happens, it's going to pass it down the chain here. It will inflict harm on the enemy, and then it will harm itself. It is important that it happens in this order, because as soon as this happens, it's going to create a harm message. Now, this will actually work, but it's possible for things to eat messages. This would actually still work. This would actually still work. Okay. Just realized, because of the way I've got this syntax, I can just do it this way. I don't need to have those enemy health ones in there as variables that keep getting reused. That pattern is necessary in other spots, but not there. Okay, so the yarn balls should go away after they strike a blob. Okay, let's set the blobs back to 1 HP here. So what we're establishing here is that they can have extra health. Let's spiral this out. It helps coverage. Actually, this will help coverage more. So again, we're seeing a more practical use case here for how this works. Is each blob consumes a projectile when it appears, or when it impacts. We do not have a single collision base right now. It will keep processing messages. We do need to have active state separate of collision state, because if an entity is going away, we want to negate how can we handle this? Oh. No. So there's a little more that we're going to need to do. Let's get knockback in there. I like somber piano string music, that kind of thing. It's nice. I do like a lot of music. This works really well for our coding stream. Okay, that's if we need to duplicate otherwise. Like override. So what we are going to do here is in a handle message, false. Never eat the message with a knockback. Let's see, do we want let's have it only if it's hurt. So if it is going to take damage. Hey there, Rex. It has been a bit. Welcome back. Game is coming along nicely. It's from them to us. Okay, a harm message needs to have a source. Yeah. Should have a source, yeah. Ah, that's why. Harm message. Source minus them to us, so it is entity.position minus our message.source.position. So this is the vector from the thing harming us to us. I mean, I think I recognize. No guarantees. All right. We do have an ad break on Twitch happening, but you know. There's ad. We still need a constant for 96, but you know. I recognize the Nguyen part. Though that's not an uncommon last name. Oh, wait. Globs need health for that. Ah, okay. Dredged was a lot of fun. Like me some cosmic horror. Odd. Globs have 3 health. I know there was a DLC or something that was like an Arctic area. Never played that. All right, all right. Waiting. And if waiting and message is time pass message. Oof. I don't recall at all. Okay. we're done typing this. So what we're doing with the harm messages is whenever there is a collision that happens, this will wait. When it's handling a collision message, it will not inflict harm again until the next time passage happens. We'll see how this works. We might need to do this on the take damage side. Because what this will do is this will remove 2 physics ticks. It does this and sets waiting equal to true. The next time a collision happens, it's processing a collision, it ignores it. Blobs are still taking way too much damage. Why are the blobs taking so much damage? Alright, we are going to remove the yarn ball's health here. So that enemy health only processes when a blob takes the hit. Alright, the blobs are going away without hitting this. Why? I have lingering, like, auto kill code in place. Shader should be physics update. It's collision components. We don't want collision components. We want... most of the shader logic is actually handled by an internal object to it. Send a collision message from source to target. Okay, so no special handling there. Oh. Huh. Target gets a collision. Oh, no. Oh, this is... that's actually how it needed to happen. So we tell the source of the collision, the thing that is doing the colliding, you collided with the target, and that will result in it sending messages to the target. Yeah. Okay. But if we look at collision enemy health, we were very infrequently hitting this. Why is that? See, we should be getting this message anytime we should be getting this handler going anytime the blobs are going away. Like, they're definitely taking hits here. And we know that the health that they have is... let's... one damage. Health is 2. Like, we are seeing... things get removed, but we're very rarely going through this part. Like, this can happen. This should not be relevant. I feel like there's something that's lurking around that we're missing. We need a time passed before we will collide again. Collision harm. We get a collision message. We figure out what the target is and we send a harm message to them. And then we go into a dormant state for 2 physics ticks. But why? Our message gets a source of the damage. Then in the so we have the thing getting the message, and we have the harm message that will have a source of the harm and the damage to do. Let's make sure. That's an enemy blob. Message is a harm message from a yarn ball. Okay. That is correct. Okay, health is 0. That shouldn't be possible. We shouldn't be able to get here if our health is 0. Multiple independent things could have landed a hit at that point. Which I think is okay for the purposes of this game. Hey there, fishy. Welcome. All right. Let's strengthen the test here. Blob, they currently have 30 hits. We're also not seeing knockbacks happen. Oh, I know why we're not seeing knockbacks happen. Blobs are still going away immediately. There is some other event squeaking through in here. But how and why? But in any event, let's double check here. We do a time passed, we'll update physics. All right. We are processing a message that is a harm message. Behaviors. Lifespan tick. We should be seeing enemies knocked back as a result of this. Like, they should move back noticeably. Normalized. There we go. I wasn't normalizing it. It's a very small distance when a collision happens. Yarn balls. Not sure if it's actually working right now is the problem. I know the knockback is working. it's the direction of the collision. It's not really precise because it's not following the motion of the projectile. At the time of the collision. But I think it's good enough, you know? Now, one thing I might need to do is have a marker on an entity that tells it you took a hit, so I can add a little flash to it, you know? Yeah. I think that's working. Okay. All right. So 3 hits. We're going to knock this back to 1/4 square. They'll tick back, but I'm going to remove the lifespan from the blobs. All right, it's working. Let's maximize coverage here. So right now we're producing 9 yarn balls per unit time. There was a bit of a backlog of blobs. So each blob takes 3 hits to remove. Each yarn ball can hit once every 2 frames, but it can only strike once. Okay. This is just kind of basking in this for a moment because this was a big leap forward. We have the logic for impact knockback. One of the things we'll probably do is change that to be where we query where the player is. And knockback from the player. Otherwise, we may leave it as is, but a common problem in some games is that a knockback can happen in the wrong direction, resulting in problems. But given that the weaponry is modular, that can be a trade-off. Or blobs. So now there's 3 times as many blobs. Blobs, again, take 3 hits from a yarn ball to go away. And so there's 9 health worth of blob twice a second, I think. With like a whole lot of yarn balls flying out at once. So we can see with this pattern, the blobs are managing to converge. They tend to get ripped up once they get close enough. But they are overcoming the throughput. If we change this to be the little spiral out pattern here, we're not getting the same coverage. So right here, it's the health and number of blobs is overwhelming damage throughput. So if we triple again, we can see it starting to push through. So yeah, we have the beginnings of game logic here. If we wire more into the player next, so player health is going to be a special thing. We need to look at getting the full player service in place. That is, we will create an entity that represents the player, and we're going to keep track of it. That player, instead of having like enemy health like the bullets and the blobs do, will have a special player health property that is part of that global player service, which will have an impact on like the game state. It'll give us something to say like, hey, I can put hearts on the screen or something like that based on data from the player service. Elements of HUD, you know? It will also be a place that we can get things like where the player is. Because right now the blobs track the cursor because I wanted to... One, I had the cursor movement. And two, we don't have the player as a global concept as far as game state is concerned yet. In our prior iteration, we did have that, but it did have problems. Okay. I think we're going to call it a little bit early tonight. We have made noticeable progress here. Hopefully we can keep that momentum. Now, as I mentioned on the Discord, seamless plug, you should swing over to the Discord. Just... Wow. Shouldn't have spammed that much, right? No. Okay. Yeah, I've got a... rules, then links, then rules, then links. It did it twice. And then Nightbot reacted. We'll have to figure out why it did that. In any event, swing on down to the Discord. I did mention that I'm trying to ramp up the schedule again. That's in 2 parts. I want to have more streams. That will help us continue with the game dev, but also add some... and to break up the streams with some gaming streams. There's a lot of nice little cozy games that I'd like to play. But also, I want to be able to give you folks a schedule again. That'd be neat. But with all that said, I hope everybody had a good time watching us code today. If you like what you saw and would like to see more, remember to like, follow, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. It helps the channel grow. And with that, I hope the rest of your day is good, and I will see you next time.